Greetings and good health. I am Dr. Jerica Sarko, a pediatric and family wellness chiropractor. This is your lifeline to vitality, where we discuss ways to cultivate family wellness. Good day and great health. Welcome back to another edition of your Lifeline to Vitality. Today on the podcast, what can a chiropractor do for a cervical fracture? Generally speaking, chiropractors don't treat cervical fractures. Fractures are outside the scope of practice for chiropractors. Chiropractors can, though, adjust old fractures that have healed and are stable. A cervical bone is a type of bone called a vertebra. The spinal column is made up of vertebral bones. The vertebral bones of the spine have 4 specific categories of incorrect placement. They can misalign, subluxate, dislocate, and/or fracture. Each subsequent category of incorrect placement is the result of more stress put on the bone. A fracture creates a break in the bone itself when the stress exceeds the bone's ability to withstand it. Fractures have many different classifications and types. The 2 major fracture groups are either classified as complete or incomplete. A complete fracture extends all the way across the bone. They are the most common. Incomplete fractures do not extend all the way across the bone. They are more common in children. The greatest range of motion found in the spine occurs at the cervical level. This fact means it also has the greatest potential for incorrect placement. This includes fractures. Over 50% of all vertebral fractures occur in the cervical spine. The most common cervical bone to fracture is the axis bone or the C2 vertebra. Around 30% of all cervical fractures happen to the axis bone. The second most common fracture site is the C7 vertebra. This accounts for 20% of cervical fractures. Depending on the type of fracture, it can take an average of 6 to 8 weeks to heal. Shorter healing times are around 4 weeks long, and longer healing times are around 20 weeks long. Length of time for the healing process includes the age of the person, pre-existing conditions, type, and severity of the fracture. Although a fracture is an incorrect placement type of injury, it is outside the scope of chiropractic. Chiropractic only includes the correction and adjustment of misalignments and subluxations. Setting fractures and dislocations is not chiropractic. When determining if it is okay to adjust a previous fracture site, a few factors must be assessed. When it comes to the adjustment of a healed fracture, it is best to err on the side of caution. For this reason, I recommend waiting at least 20 weeks post-fracture before reassessing the site for a potential adjustment. Whether post-fracture or not, it is common practice to take an X-ray film of the spinal site that is to be adjusted. X-rays are a critical piece of the analysis puzzle for the chiropractor. Along with X-ray films, other images may be performed such as CT scans and/or MRIs. Along with imaging, different neurological, orthopedic, musculoskeletal, and range of motion testings will be done to assess the integrity of the healed fractured site. Chiropractors will also work with other healthcare practitioners such as medical doctors, osteopaths, and orthopedic surgeons to determine the nature of a post-fracture site. The chiropractor will also take into consideration the vertebra that was fractured and its locality to a subluxation. For example, if there was a fracture at C7 and a subluxation at C1, it is clinically reasonable to adjust the subluxation at C1. The chiropractor will take all the precautionary steps in the analysis for this scenario as well. This includes healing time, imaging, and other tests. Ultimately, if the chiropractor deems it acceptable to adjust a healed cervical fracture or a subluxation above or below the fracture site, the specificity of the technique and adjustment will make all the difference in the outcomes thereof. Thank you for listening. For even more information on how chiropractic can benefit you and your family, please check out my website, ohiospecific.com. That's ohiospecific.com. Until next time, remember to keep your head cool, feet warm, and your mind busy.